boldness that you gain after speaking affirmations over yourself. The more you hear it, the more you believe that it's true.
And welcome to Premier Fitness. I'm Gene Williams, your yoga instructor, and I'm here to tell you about the benefits of yoga.
I'm just talking and my mic is on mute. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us. You have just tuned in to Where is the Love? I am your host. I am Stephanie Hawkenhall. Joining me is my co-host, my son, Gene Williams.
Hi, how you doing? Good to see you. Can you see me? I am ready to go. Okay, I am ready to go. Okay, I am ready to go.
Oh my goodness. You are a hot mess. Dang it, I forgot to set this thing all the way up. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we are here to we've been talking about gaslighting on where's the love? Where's the love when you're bullying others and when you're gaslighting others? No love, no love, no love. So we are here. We've been talking about gaslighting, and there's a whole lot to cover. Just as much or more than bullying, the gaslighting is pretty deep. So you can watch us on Roku or Amazon Fire. You can also, and when you go to Roku or Amazon Fire, search PODTV space LIVE and watch us on TV. Or you can watch us on our YouTube channels, Love Misunderstood Institute or Premier Fitness 0210. So those are places you can watch us. You can also go to the website podtv.tv and watch us there. And you want to add anything before I go on?
Well, I'm blown away that there's so much to this topic alone. Just like the levels to this are surprising, and disheartening actually, because you really see it in a lot of aspects of our culture or our society, should I say. Um, so many instances where you have uh, people from all levels, politicians and whatever, just gaslighting people and creating realities, or, you know, ah man, even if you look at like advertisement and things like that, it's like wow, they create a narrative and then like that ain't what I did. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
document. There's a whole video right there that shows it.
Yep.
Nah, that wasn't me. That was, well, it was your fault that I did it. What? What you
Yeah.
got? What? Yeah,
Blame, blame, blame.
we talking? Are we talking about the same thing? We ain't on the same. We can't be on the same page. Making you question your own reality. Like, okay, am I the crazy one? I mean, we all a little bit crazy. Some of
Right.
us a lot of bit crazy, but
Right.
but don't make anyone else who already dealing with natural craziness, and exacerbated by like making them question their reality by being full of IT. Um,
Right.
it just makes it
Uh,
worse, man. Get
it
yourself together.
does.
Get yourself together.
Right. Exactly. Um, I hate that I forgot to stream this to my LinkedIn audience, but I have to wait for Mark to respond. So, y'all, on episode 98, Mark said Gene is more crazy than most.
And I would tend to agree. I would tend to agree.
um, Gene, will you talk about what happened on episode 98, please? I'm
For
trying to
sure.
see if Mark, are you, do you see my note? Go ahead, Gene.
All right, so on episode 98, check that out. 98 episodes. We on episode 99. That in itself is mind blowing. But on episode 98, we talked about, well, we expanded upon the tactics of gaslighting. We defined the tactics and then we gave you an example of the tactics. And so here are a few examples of those that we shared on episode 98. Number one is lying with conviction. Number two is twisting the narrative. We know a lot of people who do that. Dismissing evidence. You just said it. You just said
Yep.
that. Guilt tripping. Well, if you hadn't made me, well, it's because oh, I got anyway. They always got a side story. Maybe you just want to pull out a violin for 'em. Go ahead, tell your story. Go ahead.
Right.
Sad, cue sad music. All right. Uh, Five is using sarcasm or jokes. Number six is overloading with information or a lack thereof.
Mark said
Mark
not
probably
the
talking a lot of trash.
violin.
You gotta pull out the violin and cue the somber music. All them flat notes in there. Make you just want to be like, okay, I'm sorry. Anyway,
You a hot mess.
I might be. I might be. So right though. All right, so number seven, they flip the script and play the victim. Woo,
Yep.
Lord, do we not know people who do that and do it well?
Yep.
Selective forgetting, or as I like to call it, selective amnesia.
Yep.
I don't remember that, but you remember everything around it, but you don't remember what you did, but you
Yeah.
remember what came from it.
Yep.
Things that make you go, hmm. All right. Number nine is love bombing and devaluing. When they give you all this love on the front end, oh, I love you so much, you're so amazing, you inspire me, and da 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 da. And then they, starve you of that. And then on the end of it is you're not worth anything. You're worthless. You're nobody. No one will want you but me. I'm the only person that will ever want you. Come on now. We know people like that.
Yeah, and it's horrible to make people think that, or to, well, to say that, and then to make people
Right.
think that, so that they feel all alone, isolated. No,
Right.
this is the only person that'll ever love me, so I have to just put up with what they're giving out, and
I'd
that's just
rather be
horrible.
alone.
Oh my goodness.
Mm.
What you got in your teeth?
Well, there's a lot of different types of tea in there, but trying to get myself together. Trying to get myself together.
I see
No
Jack.
alcohols in there, none of that. No Jack and no nothing else. It's just straight herbs.
No, I was
So,
saying Jack is in the background getting situated.
oh yeah, big old head stuff.
Mark said that's not tea, that's bourbon. Don't try and fool us.
It is.
Jane, Jane said, where that?
Well, you got a bottle over there, brother. You want to pass over here? I might put a little splash of that. Give me some whiskey. We'll have some Irish tea.
Oh Lord.
I,
Where did you stop at? You so doggone silly.
I got it. All right. So number 10 is triangulation. When, when they pull people in to try to convince you that your story isn't real or you should do what they're saying.
Yep.
I know that very well. They were called in my situation family meetings where only
Yeah.
one person's viewpoint was the
Matter.
objective.
Yep. Yeah.
Anyway, and number 11, undermining confidence. Anyway, so if you'd like to learn more about the topics Go back and watch episode 98. We just, I mean, 98. That's
Yep.
crazy. That's
Yep.
crazy. That is crazy. And here we is now in episode 99. So what we gonna do here, people? We gonna dive into this show because gaslighting is expensive for the meals. Gaslighting is expensive. Is turn off the gas. Turn off the gas lights. Get
Mark
the
said.
LED.
Mark said how much gaslighting goes on in entertainment and sports world,
Yep.
just as much as in the regular world. Ain't no
Right.
different no matter where you go
Right. Now
or
it's
who it is. Who it is. Go ahead.
right. Yeah. In that realm is called marketing. That's gaslighting is marketing. They give you, like, for instance, they'll create some kind of drama because Edward Bernays, the father of public relations, said that there's no such thing as bad publicity. So if you have a scandal, they'll flip it and make it seem like it's a good thing. Like, and I haven't watched it very much, but this Blake Lively, Justin, whatever dude,
Mm-hmm.
this whole situation, like, it's a situation where she created a narrative. Well, something happened. She created a narrative that's different from the actual narrative. And there's documentation showing that the way it went down is the way the guy Justin said it. But she flipped it to be something else. It's like we see the text and the email. It's out there. I just
That's a mess. People just lie, and evidence is right there to
man.
prove whatever as being true. So let's move on to start episode 99. So we're still talking about the tactics, expanded tactics used in gaslighting. And so what that means is we're telling you the kind of tactic, giving you the name of the tactic, and then we're defining the tactic, and then we're giving you an example of the tactic. So that's what's expanded about it. So first is deliberate sabotage. And this is in addition to what Gene just shared with you that was shared on our show last week. Um, so deliberate sabotage, setting you up for failure and then blaming you for the outcome. An
Hmm.
example of that is giving you incomplete information or conflicting instructions. And that's the kind of thing that goes on in the workplace.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
just a hint. Uh, number two is feigning ignorance. And what that is acting as though they don't understand what you're talking about to avoid accountability. And here's an example. I have no idea what you mean. You're not making any sense.
Mhm.
Don't that make you feel like you crazy? Remember,
Right.
that's what gaslighting is all
Exactly.
about, to
Mhm.
make you feel like you losing your mind. Did you want
Right.
to add something?
No, I was just saying, yeah, yeah, yeah. I was just adding on to that.
Okay. And then reinforcing insecurity is another one, is another tactic. So, and what that is exploiting your vulnerabilities or fears to keep you dependent. And here's an example. You'll never find anyone else who puts up with you. Ain't that something
Right.
like what you just said?
Right.
you,
Exactly what I said. Yeah. No one will ever want you.
yep.
You're worthless. You're only
Yep.
worth anything to me or because you're with me.
Yeah, that's a horrible thing to say to somebody. It's a horrible way to make somebody feel, but we know people
Yeah.
do that. So
Right.
all we doing here is telling you the truth.
Yeah.
We ain't got nothing but the truth for you.
Nothing but nothing but the truth. The truth.
Yep. So the next one is exaggeration of minor mistakes, and what that is blowing small errors out of proportion to make you feel inadequate. Here's an example. You always mess things up. I can't rely on you for anything.
Yeah,
Horrible.
yeah.
Go ahead.
And what that does is it puts a person on eggshells at all times. So now they're worried that if they make a mistake, you know, they're gonna get more of that from you. So they
Yep.
walk on eggshells, which makes them make more mistakes.
Exactly.
it
Yep.
creates it creates the negative outcome that they were hoping to get away from because they're in fear.
Yep.
So now, yeah. So man,
Yeah. And I know how that feels. I know a lot of other people do. When you're for example, at work and you're doing a project and somebody's constantly putting you down, then you constantly afraid you're gonna mess up. Even when I'm writing something sometimes, and you can't, you have to write it just like this. You can't, like the date, for example, you have to write two numbers dash two numbers and then dash four for the year,
right.
and then you have to initial, and you have to initial a certain way. And so all of that stuff, excuse me, sometimes I'm writing and I'm like, shoot, I don't want to mess up. So,
Hmm.
same kind of thing, you're in fear of messing up. So you do. That's, you, what you fear, you do, or what you
Right.
fear happens. You want to
And it
add
just causes
something?
a lot of yeah, I was gonna say it causes a lot of anxiety unnecessarily. So you
Yep.
know, and no one wants to be nervous all the time. That's not a comfortable feeling, and it's exhausting
Yep.
and psychologically damaging
Yep.
to be always, on your toes and like man, stress is the number one killer in the world. Stress is the number one killer, and that's a hell of a lot of stress. Always walking on eggshells in fear of someone constantly having negative uh, criticism of
Yep.
you and your action.
Hey, y'all, if you want to comment, um, and engage with us, please do. You're welcome to. We will respond. Thanks, Mark. Um, so the next thing is conditional love or approval, and that is withholding affection, praise, or attention as punishment. And an example of that is ignoring you until you agree with that perspective.
Mhm. Or even in the context of romantic relationships, say a male or the male or female partner, you say it starts off you withholding uh, intimacy from
Yep.
them to get them to do something. I don't touch me. Now I'm upset with you because I disagree with what you said, and then it goes to um, not paying attention to a person or avoiding a person until you get out of them what you want, and then you're happy with them for a while until they do something else. They step out of line, and
Yeah.
you ignore them to pull them back in line with your goals. So yeah, that's one of the most hurtful types of manipulation.
Yep.
Um, it's an add-on to love bombing, but worse because again, you can't really love a person that the love is conditional. I love you
Right.
if you do this.
Yeah.
I love you if you do that or you don't do that. Like, is that really love then?
No, love
Where's the
misunderstood.
love?
Right.
Where is the
And
love?
love misunderstood. You don't know what is that.
Right.
You can keep
Yep.
that.
Right. Exactly. I don't want none of it.
Yeah, that's very hurtful and very harmful. Um,
Right.
and
Hmm.
so, um, and I'm just gonna say, being a woman, I know a lot of women do that. Um, and that's, I mean, men probably do it too, but I know a lot of women do that. Withhold,
Right.
intimacy because you didn't do what I want you to do, or all of the things that
Yep.
Jean just said without repeating. Mark said, I remember a catfisher who said they wouldn't talk to me unless I sent them a gift card. That's when I realized they were a gaslighter and a catfisher. Yeah, people are way out there. Um,
Yeah.
it's so doggone hard to trust people because you don't know if the people are really the person that they say they are,
Right.
and so um, trying to, I didn't really want to say this, but I'm just gonna say it. So
Say
trying,
it.
so trying
Tell the
to
people.
have, trying to have a relationship online. um, I got to where because I know people, I've heard many stories of people experiencing different stuff with, catfishing and stuff like that. So, what I started doing, if you want to talk to me, then I want to see you, and
Mhm.
um, a couple people told me they didn't know how to work it, and I said, well, then we can't have a conversation. And then so different things like that happen too, where they make excuses where they don't know how to use the equipment, or they don't, why you want to see me on video. I want to know who I'm talking to. And then so I
Right.
had to end the conversation because I was determined I wasn't going to get caught up in that. And then
Right.
finally I just said, forget all of that dating crap. I don't want it because y'all doing something else, and I don't want to.
Mhm. Right. 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 This is what we doing. This ain't
Yeah,
what we do.
right. And
Yeah.
I don't have a problem sticking to my goals or sticking to what I said. So I
Right.
just stopped messing with those altogether. Because
Right.
I was already too leery in the first place, and now y'all on here acting a fool. Nah, I ain't. Nope, I don't want it. Never
Right.
mind.
Right.
So you want to add something?
Yeah. This fool. Uh, now the catfishing thing, like how you gonna like reach out to someone um via video and whatnot and then not want to see them? Like that doesn't make any sense. Like
Yeah.
that's you it sounds like you had goals of messing somebody over.
Yep.
So yeah, I couldn't do that. Not seeing you, man.
Yeah.
And I'm an in person. I like to look at you. Let me
Right.
lay eyes on you.
That,
Let me lay an eye on you. Is you real? Is you real enough? Excuse me. You real? Okay.
okay. Hi, Yvette. Just worked with someone for 3 years. I went through all the mental and verbal abuse. He knew he could get away with it because he married into one of the richest families in my state. That is horrible.
Oh man.
That
Yeah,
is
that's
horrible.
tragedy when people use their power to get over on people, treat people in a way that they wouldn't want to be treated. Like that's insane
Yeah,
and
it
disheartening.
is. It is very disheartening. But create boundaries and stick to your boundaries,
Hmm.
like I was just saying, about
Right.
me. So don't change your your boundaries and the way you think to fit somebody else's narrative. Nope.
Right. Right.
So
And even
you
even in even in a situation like that, when you're working with somebody who does that, remember, I mean, he may have married into that family, but you can still report him. There's still a chain of command. So okay, this person is doing X, Y, Z, and it's affecting my work. So now I'm gonna go, and if I gotta go to the BBB, what I mean, to place a complaint that's gonna be seen worldwide. I mean, there's so many ways you can skin that cat. So I would, it's never justifiable for people to treat you like crap, whether you work for them, you are in a relationship with them romantically or not. So treat people like you want to be treated. Treat them like they want to be treated. Oh, sorry. That just
uh,
came to
thank you for
me.
commenting to that. um Mark says there goes Gene skinning that cat again. And
I just
breaking out
sharpened my
into
knife
he said and breaking
too.
out into song. Okay, so we did conditional love. So now shifting blame is another um, tactic. So, and what that is deflecting accountability for their actions onto you. And the example is You made me act this way because of what you did. That's a
Hmm.
shame.
Nah, it's a shame and a lie. I can't
Yeah,
make you do nothing. You
right.
chose. I didn't get into your body and use you as a puppet. No, you're not Frankenstein's monster. So you did that action based off of, whatever your excuse is, but it's still you doing it. I didn't make you do nothing.
Yeah,
I make you shut
yeah.
up.
You said what?
That's I'm gonna make you shut up.
You do the next. You start
All right.
doing them.
All righty. So number 7 is imposing double standards. Mm. Expecting you to follow rules or standards that they don't apply to themselves. For example, I'm allowed to be upset, but you're overreacting. You ever
That's a
been in a relationship
shame.
like that? It's okay
Yeah.
for you to say and do whatever. You can act a fool. You can have a whole tantrum, fall out on the floor, kicking and screaming, but let me raise my voice. You're so scared. Sorry, that was just a flashback. Um, it's just a flashback. But you see that in business as well, where you have employers who treat you like crap or talk to you in the kind of way, or don't show up for work at certain times. You're supposed to be at work. It's like everybody's supposed to be at 8 o'clock. That's across the board. You show up at
Yeah.
10 o'clock, take an hour or two break multiple times a day, but then let me be 10 minutes late. They want to write you up, and now you are getting demerits or whatnot. So now my job is possibly in question. So yeah, do unto others as you have them do unto you.
I just had that happen to me at the job that I just left.
Mm,
That same thing happened. You constantly late, and then you're hardly ever working. And if somebody asks you to work, then you act like they did something bad to you, and you don't help still, But anyway, some of the without going into detail, because but it's crazy how that happens. So
right,
you can do something, but you watching everybody else to see if they doing it, so you can call them out. How about calling yourself out and don't do that? Because you being an example to me, so you making me think it's okay to do it.
right, right.
Yeah,
Yep, it's not fair. Not fair to impose unequal. Like it's about equanimity across the board.
yeah,
Everybody is equal, regardless of your status, financial, all of that stuff. It does not matter. We are all equal in the eyes of God. So
yeah,
I it's incumbent upon us to treat everybody like we want to be treated.
yep. So go to the next one.
All right. So number 8 is manipulating time, claiming an event happened much earlier or later than it did to distort your perception. For example, that was months ago. Why are you bringing it up now? Well, if I brought it up, it's probably needed to be brought up. I mean, I'm just saying. I didn't bring it up for no reason. No.
Right. It didn't just come out the air.
Right. I didn't just pull it out the air like, yeah. Oh, this one. Yeah, let's talk about this. Like, there's a reason behind it. Do you want to know the reason, or you want to just tell me basically I'm overreacting again?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't listen though. You don't get these words. You don't get these words.
Right. All right. The next one.
All right. Number 9 is exploiting empathy. Oh, exploiting empathy. Can't. Ooh. Using your compassion against you to avoid consequences. For example, you know, I've been under a lot of stress lately. Cut me some slack, please. You know people like that.
Yep.
I know people like that all the time. But you messed up. You messed
Yep.
up. And now
Yep.
you want my sympathies when I'm getting on you about what you did. I
Yeah.
just yeah. And they never apologize. They never
Right.
apologize. That's the crazy thing. They never apologize. They hit you with that guilt trip. Because I mean, this is akin to to the guilt tripping. But they exploit your empathy uh, by knowing that if I do this, then I'm gonna be forgiven, and then I'm not gonna apologize for my actions. That you're not being mature if you acting like
Yeah.
that.
So by
Uh,
recogn were you saying something else?
mm-mm.
Okay. So by recognizing these tactics, you can better protect yourself from gaslighting. The key is to stay grounded in your truth, seek support, and set boundaries with those who attempt to manipulate you. So now we are going to talk about, and you can start out, we're going to talk about the psychological impacts of gaslighting.
Right. All right. So gaslighting undermines a person's self-trust and emotional stability, leading to confusion or chronically questioning of what's real or true. Number two is shame, feeling at fault for misunderstandings or disagreements. Man, helplessness, belief that the situation cannot be changed. And number four, hypervigilance, constantly on edge, trying to anticipate manipulative, manipulative behavior.
So,
Gaslighting can be,
hold on. I'm sorry.
mm,
So, before you go there, Mark said a couple things that I just saw. One, he said, or the people who are late at work but get mad at you if you are 2 minutes late. Yeah.
yep,
Um, and then, so something else he said is, or the people who get mad at you using a copier for personal reasons, but they use it themselves 6 times a day. Yeah.
mm,
And then, you mean you borrowed that money 6 months ago? Why are you bringing it up now?
because you still have not paid me.
Right.
Now I want it back with interest.
Right. Because you messed around.
Right.
Okay, so go ahead.
All right. So more psychological impacts of gaslighting. Number one, the loss of self-trust. You question your ability to make decisions, recall events accurately, or interpret situations. Over time, this self-doubt can erode your confidence and autonomy, which is what they want.
Yep.
They want you to lack self-trust, so they'll be the person who points you in the right way. No, this is what you're supposed to be doing.
Right. So you trust only in them and what
Right,
they say.
right. Number two is chronic confusion. Constant manipulation leaves you unsure of what's real or true, causing mental exhaustion. You may struggle to differentiate between actual events and the gaslighter's distortion. Mm. Number three is emotional instability. Gaslighting can trigger intense feelings of sadness, anxiety, anger, and frustration. Victims often feel emotionally on edge or overwhelmed, which actually causes, again, we talked about high anxiety early on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, eventually could lead to, drug use or, homicidal or suicidal thoughts.
Yep.
Just because it's like you're always on edge, that gets exhausting. And when you hear people who commit suicide,
Jen, can
one of
you
the
see
last
her?
things,
Can you see her? Because I
see
can
her
hear her.
who, oh,
Um, y'all hold on for just a moment. Um, this gaslighting thing can be very um, hurtful. We've already covered a lot of stuff. Gene will be back shortly, but we're talking about this because it's part of can be. Oh, he's back. Go ahead.
what was, I'm sorry. Uh, okay,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. Number four is, oh, we were talking about people feeling emotionally on edge and overwhelmed. So, people, like I said, they have a feeling, like I said, they get overwhelmed and they sometimes want to commit suicide. And you got the 988 for that, if you feel like you need someone to talk to. Also, we put up, what is it? Uh,
Building
Building
Bridges
Bridges, KC.
KC.org
Yeah.
is a place for therapists. It's or as an organization of therapists and certified mental health coaches that help you with your mental stability to help you with that.
Right. Yep. And everyone needs a therapist. Everyone needs somebody to talk to. Everyone needs a support system. Um, man, again, because you know, it's often that people who are in these situations isolate themselves. I know I
Yeah,
did. And then the person, they help as well. They triangulate and they isolate you, and then just have you in the corner, treating you like crap, kind of like the Cinderella story. Um, and man, and you begin to feel hopeless.
yeah.
So
And I want to add to that. So remember where you are. Um, so to that, when people, isolate you, um, the horrible part about that is say that you are in a different state than than any of your relatives. So you're the only one in that state. You don't have any relatives close to you to
mhm, right,
talk to, and you don't want to worry those that are far away, so you don't say anything. You keep it to yourself. That isolates you even more because it makes you feel even more lonely and shut down, and then it makes you even more dependent on the person that is
yeah,
gaslighting you. And that's what the gaslighter wants, is you
right,
to depend on them and to make you believe that nobody cares about you, like Jean said earlier, nobody cares
right,
about you but me, um, and things like that. So these tips are very important to to remember and to think about.
right.
So I just wanted to add that. Mark, when you get a chance, would you put up the building bridges? Thank you. Go ahead, Jean.
Yeah. I was also going to say, like in those situations where a person who is a chronic gaslighter, they isolate you so you can be their narcissistic feed until they've drained you dry,
Yep.
also known as energy vampires. But they've drained you dry, and then they move on to the next person because that's
Yeah.
what they do.
Yeah.
They usually move on like the conquerors of the West.
Yep. Um, so heightened insecurity, is that
Right.
where we are?
Yes, heightened insecurity. So you may feel inadequate, unworthy, or overly dependent on others for validation. This insecurity can bleed into other relationships and areas of life. And number five is impaired decision making. Doubting your judgment leads to difficulty making even simple decisions. Victims often second guess themselves or defer to others, losing their sense of agency.
You,
And then
you go ahead.
And number six is increased anxiety and fear. Gaslighting fosters fear of making mistakes or upsetting the manipulator. This can result in hypervigilance, where you are constantly on guard for potential manipulation, and that's exhausting too.
Mm-hmm.
Just always on edge, wondering when is the shoe gonna drop? Things are okay today. What about tomorrow? What if I say this? What if I do this? What if I look like this? What if I, you know? Like no one wants to walk on eggshells all the freaking time.
Right. And we talked about that earlier in the conversation. So if you missed the first part of the conversation, you can go back and uh, replay the beginning of the video to hear that part of the conversation. So, you have anything you want to add to that?
Mm-mm.
Okay, I'll go. So, depression and hopelessness. Hold on a second. A persistent sense of being trapped, powerless, or unworthy can contribute to depression. Over time, you may feel like change is impossible or stop trying to assert yourself. That's a
Hmm.
miserable place to be, too,
Right.
in your mind. Um, and it just all goes back to isolation. I mean, what do? I don't, I'm trying to make this person happy, and that goes into people pleasing, you know.
Right.
And so that puts you in a place of misery in your mind, you know.
Right.
Um, so I just
Yeah.
wanted to add that. You want to add something?
Yeah, I was gonna say because it's only the person who's we can't make anybody happy.
Right.
Uh, only they can. So you can contribute to their happiness, but it's ultimately upon them to determine what makes them happy and to live uh, from that aspect. So yeah, and when you're in a situation where you're isolated like that, it's easy uh, to want to people please because that's the only person you're around. They've isolated you to keep you away from everybody else, and it's just uh, them that you're around.
Yeah.
So now it's like, well, this the only person that's really on my team supposedly. So I got to do whatever I can. So you're walking on the eggshells and
Yeah.
always this, and who no one wants to live like that, man.
Yeah.
It's exhausting.
Yeah. And it's a horrible position to be in. So, isolation and loneliness. Um, Gaslighters, we just said this, often isolate their victims, cutting them off from supportive relationships. As a result, victims feel alone, unsupported, and misunderstood. We just talked about that.
Yep, yep. And when you add in that triangulation piece, where you got multiple people helping this person gaslight and manipulate you, man, yeah, the aloneness and the feeling misunderstood and unsupported, like it goes deep. It takes you to a really, really dark place. Uh, so you again going back to what we said before, you have to have a strong support system because you can get lost in that abyss. You're really
Yeah,
lost in that abyss. I've been there, so I know very well.
yeah. And I'm still so thankful that you're out.
Yeah,
Um,
me too.
so, erosion of identity. You might lose sight of who you are, your values, or your beliefs. Over time, you adapt to the gaslighter's reality, suppressing your own thoughts and feelings. What you want to add?
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, absolutely. So I'm just gonna say it straight up. The person in particular that I went through this with, um, we met at the age of 22. I got married at the age of 23. And by the age of like 32, 33, I realized that I lost who I was. Like the person that she supposedly fell in love with, that person was no longer. You know, I couldn't even, at that point, I was looking back over my life over those last 9, 10 years and like, what have I done that I really enjoyed other than just providing for the family? You know, um, and it's like as soon as I started to discover who I am again, that person started to try to lock me down. And that's the crazy thing. Like they put the clamps on you, and when they realize that the original tool of manipulation no longer works, then they switch tactics or they add on and compound. So man, it's just yeah, be vigilant about and when you have to be hyper vigilant, when you constantly have to walk on eggshells, that I don't know if this person, you just need to deuce out. Just deuce out. Just, listen, I can't do this anymore. You about to
Yeah.
drive me crazy. You about to drive me crazy. I ain't gonna let you do it. I ain't gonna let you do it.
I'm not going there.
Right,
I don't want to go where you want me to go.
right. I'm gonna go the other way because just because you said go left, I'm gonna go right. Because you
Just
say
because
go up,
you
I'm gonna go
said it.
down. Right. Now I'm gonna rebel against you. Rebel.
Mark says sometimes you got to bounce. Yep.
I'm telling you. I'm
Yeah.
telling you. It's
It's
like a
better.
basketball.
Yeah, because it'll keep it'll help you start getting your mind right faster.
Yeah.
Because the longer you're in it, the deeper you are,
Right.
and the longer it takes to get out of it.
Right.
And of course, it's a healing process.
Right.
That you have
Yeah.
to go through, and that healing process takes a long time because there's already stuff there, before that came, that you were carrying. And so now you're carrying the stuff you had, in addition to now you gave me all this other stuff I'm carrying. And no,
Right.
you got to make a
Right.
decision. What do you want? And getting lost, in yourself and losing your identity, not knowing who you are because of that stuff is a horrible place to be in. And then that's why some people have suicide ideations. Well, I might as well just be dead. Why am I living anyway?
Right.
What purpose am I serving here? And all kind of
Right.
things like that. And then so that's a very lonely place to be in. So, and then
Right.
if you don't have suicide ideations, then you want to kill somebody, so so you're homicidal,
Right.
homicidal. Uh, and so 988 is a good place if you don't have anybody you trust or you can talk to. 988, call them. It's free. That way you're talking it out. Or again, you can call or go to the website buildingbridgeskc.org. And that's where you'd have to pay for that help. But then it's full of therapists and mental health coaches that are available and ready to help you.
Right.
You want to add
Well,
anything else?
yeah. I mean, the next point actually is what I was going to speak on next.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So number 10 is low self-esteem. Repeated invalidation and criticism can lead to feelings of worthlessness. You may believe that you're incapable of achieving or deserving better. So that goes along with what they say. No one's gonna love you. No one's gonna love you like I do. No one's gonna put up with you. Don't nobody care about you but me. You ain't worth nothing except for the me. Like really? And then you begin to believe that. Unfortunately, you begin
Yeah.
to download that into your own uh,
Psyche.
tape, right? Your own psyche, that repeating tape in your head uh, of affirmations
Yeah.
that break you down. So yeah, it's really real. And then number 11 is a big one, post-traumatic stress syndrome or PTSD. We hear about that a lot on the news, and it's a real thing. It's not only the soldiers who go to war or the police officers, but it's everyday people who deal with PTSD from just everyday relationships at work, at home, so on and so forth. It's just life is traumatizing in a lot of
Hmm.
ways. Um,
It can be.
yeah, and if you don't have the tools to help yourself, uh, man, just refocus, come back to some center. Again, you can end up, suicide ideations, high anxiety. You know, Anxiety turns into disease in the body. You can turn into, drug addict. There's a lot of ways to go, man. But it tears you down. It tears down the fabric of who you are as a person. Um, but like I said, prolonged exposure to gaslighting can lead to symptoms of PTSD, including flashbacks, nightmares, and heightened emotional reactivity. So when someone does something that's totally unrelated to the person that you were dealing with before, they do something that seems like what the other person did, then it's like it's a flash, and you feel high anxiety and on the defensive because you experienced it from someone else. So it's like you feel like you're experiencing the same thing, and it's a whole different situation. But
Yeah.
that's PTSD. That's what we call being triggered, um, and that's part of it.
Yeah. Go ahead, or you want me to go?
I got this. Number 12 is difficulty trusting others. Victims may develop mistrust, fearing that others will manipulate or deceive them. This mistrust can hinder the formation of healthy relationships. Yeah, it definitely affects trust. Trust is
Yeah.
hard. People say all the time, trust is hard to gain and easy to lose.
Yeah. Yeah. It's already hard to trust people because of how people are, and because of that trust plays a lot into your past too. what kind of things you experience by who and all of this. And then so that mistrust, in those that you trusted in first, you trusted in them, and then they did things to make you mistrust them. It makes you, it makes you question, you know, can I trust anybody? And then
Right.
so until you actually deal with that mistrust, um, from the past, then it's hard and difficult to trust people in the future because you're
Right.
holding on to that mistrust. So that's just something that needs to be dealt with for you to move forward.
Right. And building bridges right there.
Yeah.
Number 13 is internalized blame. Victims often blame themselves for the gaslighter's behavior, feeling responsible for the conflict. This self blame can be hard to unlearn even after leaving the situation. So people who internalize blame often find themselves apologizing a lot unnecessarily, for every little thing, and always feeling like they got to make up for something, or man, it's just a slippery slope.
Yeah. You want me to do the next one or you got it?
Now you go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cognitive disorientation is another one. Gaslighting disrupts your thought patterns, making it hard to focus or process information. You may experience mental fog, forgetfulness, or a reduced ability to concentrate.
right.
You want to add
Yeah,
something?
yeah. I was gonna say high anxiety situations can cause you to have that the cognitive dissonance, where it's like something, but then it's like your mind is like, but I don't know what's real. I don't know, you know, or did I make that up, or am I tripping? It makes you, it's like you always kind of like always with a question mark above your head. Did this really happen? Did this really happen? And again, that's caused by a high anxiety situation where you constantly have to question your reality. Um,
Yeah.
man,
So, emotional numbness. Over time, you may shut down emotionally as a defense mechanism, struggling to feel joy or connection.
yeah, yeah,
Emotion,
yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, just I know that emotional numbness. You want to be connected to people, but it's like you're too afraid, and eventually you become reclusive, and I just don't want to deal with nobody.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah,
Yeah, it is hard to because you're hurt and you don't want anybody else to hurt you further, so you are guarded and you're holding
mhm,
yourself back from relationships or from dealing with anybody in any way. um, and it can be any kind of relationship. So
right,
struggling to feel joy or connection. You want to be happy, but you don't know how to be, because, or not necessarily that you don't know how to be, but that you don't want to be in front of this gaslighter because of what they might do to you. So you're living in fear of how they might respond to you being joyful. And so you just don't know how to be joyful. Mark said, not the hermit tactic. And then he said, Gene knows he's a sophisticated hermit. The title of the movie on his life.
hmm.
People make
I
you
had to
want to.
feel that, Mark.
People make you not want to be bothered, or go around. Like I said, it's all about because you're guarding your heart. You know, I
Right,
I'm trying to keep myself safe so that I don't get my feelings hurt. You know. Anyway, enough of that.
right.
So you want to add something, Gene?
No, no, you go ahead.
Okay. So fear of rejection or abandonment, which is part of what I was just saying. So
Right.
victims often fear losing the gaslighter or others in their life, even if the relationship is unhealthy. This fear can make it difficult to leave the situation or set boundaries. Fear of rejection or abandonment is a huge thing,
Yeah.
especially if you have experienced that in your life, period.
Right.
Um, and I just got through saying some stuff, so I don't want to, add a lot to that. But you just do what you can to protect your heart to keep from getting hurt. And it's just something that happens. You want to add
Yeah.
to it?
Actually, well, I do. I just don't want to flood the part that's coming up. But so yeah, like in a situation like that, you stay in a jacked up relationship because that's all you know. You
Yeah,
know, you and they programmed your mind to believe that you are unworthy of love from someone else, unconditional love. So you stay with them knowing that it's tearing you apart, but that's all you know, and they isolated you from everybody else and everything else. Uh, so that it's like, well, you feel damned if you do, damned if you don't. Either way.
yeah, yeah. So we have a few minutes left. So, loss of long term perspective. Gaslighting can make you so focused on immediate survival that long term goals or dreams fade. It becomes challenging to envision a life beyond the toxic relationship.
Uh,
And then, go ahead.
no, this is,
Yeah. And then social withdrawal, feeling ashamed or afraid of judgment. Victims may avoid social situations, further isolating themselves.
yeah, yep. And still to this day, like I have a hard time. Like I go out and handle the business that I have to, but like after a while, I'd be exhausted from being around people because you always have to be on edge. You
Yeah.
never know, you know. So it's like I do what I have to do and I take my butt home.
Yeah.
And if I didn't have to do the stuff that I did and still could make a living, I would do it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Without involving other people. Because
right,
that's what the hurt does to you. That's the damage that it does to you.
right.
So we have two more. So, over dependence on the gaslighter. As self doubt grows, victims may rely on the gaslighter for validation and decision making. This dependence reinforces the manipulative dynamic. And then, lastly, physical symptoms. Stress from gaslighting can manifest physically, leading to headaches, insomnia, digestive issues, and fatigue.
Hmm.
Gaslighting can deeply affect mental health, but with awareness, support, and professional help, it's possible to heal and regain a sense of self. Recognizing the impact is the first step toward recovery. What you want to add?
Man, again, just stay very vigilant of um of your surroundings with people. Always guard your heart for sure. Uh, just pay attention to how people make you feel because our intuition tells us everything. You know, you go into a room around a person you feel uneasy. There's a reason for that.
Yeah,
So trust your intuition. And when you start to see the red flags, hey, trust. Because when they, like the saying goes, when they tell you who they are the first time, believe.
yeah, yeah. And for me, what I'd like to add is it's really hard to, once somebody or a few people mistreat you and hurt you, or you've been abandoned or rejected, um, it's really hard to trust, others in the future. And so healing is something that is very important to do. So you have to think about where you are and think about where you want to be, and then do set goals to get where you want to be, because that's what's going to help you get your mind right. And we're out of time. Um, and Mark said you two are healing a lot of people. That's what our goal is.
Right,
We're still healing, we're still in the process, but we
right.
definitely want to help others because some people have no idea how to get out of this. And Mark also said, what if the red flag is as red as that of a cardinal? It can be.
Right, there you go. And I
Yeah.
want to add, I wanted to add to what you said about healing. We have to remember that healing, is not a one-time thing. It's a continuous process
Yes.
over life. It's an ongoing process there, and with no end in sight. You know, you'll get better and better over time,
Yep.
but you may never be completely healed from the
Right.
trauma that you experienced. So just
Yep.
consistently do the work, um, even when it gets difficult, especially when it gets difficult. Do the work, um, and you'll come out on the other side better off.
Yep. And with that, we are going to say thank you for joining us. And we will be back next week giving you some more tips on gaslighting. As I said before, we're gonna be doing this for a while because there's so much to it. So we send you away with peace, send you away with love. Take care. See you later. Bye for now.